Hi, everyone.
I'm Kylie.
And I'm Corey.
And we are
Lit Libations. Welcome to our 6th episode.
Welcome back. Oh my God, this is so exciting.
We're trucking along.
I know, it's been a kind of a really exciting couple weeks, I feel like.
Yeah, it has. It's so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
We are talking about A Court of Wings and Ruin Part 2. We're finishing it up.
Yeah.
Got a lot of battles, a lot of war.
I'm going to cry. I know it. I feel the tears now.
I was just looking over my notes earlier and was like crying reading them.
I'm so excited, but I'm a little stressed out.
Yeah. Before we start, I want to say that we do have a Facebook page, like a Facebook group, I should say, called Lit Libations Lounge. And it's just a place that we can discuss the books that we're reading in a casual way with our listeners. So go and join.
Yeah, and you can post like memes or whatever.
Yeah,
like
theories, whatever you want. Doesn't care. We don't care.
Yeah, it'll be fun to interact.
Yeah.
So exciting. All right. What are we drinking?
Oh, gosh. I named it the Firebird, and it's in honor of Queen Vassa and Amren because of their fieriness.
Yeah.
But it's a whiskey sour, and it's got wine on top, and it's very whiskey. But cheers.
It's really cool. I've never made a drink like this before.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Maj, my friend, for the suggestion.
If you have any drink suggestions moving forward, if you know what we're going to be reading and you think there's something that would be a good correlation to the book, please send it in.
Yeah.
So, hold on. So good.
Yep. It's really good.
So very, very whiskey-like.
Should we crack into it?
Yes, we should. All right. We are getting it going at chapter 41. Oh my God. Okay. So they move up the meeting for the High Lord meeting, and they move the meeting, or they decide to have the meeting at the Dawn Court, which because geographically.
I was like geologically. That's right, I think.
Geographically.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be the best place. It's right in the middle of of Prythian. Well, kind of next to the Winter Court.
Yeah.
And it's just the best place for them to have it.
Yeah. And who is the High Lord of Dawn?
Of Dawn, that's Thesan.
Thesan, and he was generous to offer his court up.
Very generous. I agree, because there could be so many liability situations. And someone's gonna get sued. Honestly, they got hurt, slipped or something at the koi pond.
In the reflection pool.
In the reflection pool is what it is. Yes. So they all go get ready for the meeting. And Reese took Feyre into their treasure room, which is probably the size of my house. It's probably bigger.
Is that what they just said?
I mean, they said it's huge.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a cave, but it's got to be very large. It's got all their riches in there. It's got jewels, and crowns and fancy clothing and all that kind of stuff. And the top of it's lit by glowworms, which is kind of crazy.
I did like the glowworms. That's the only thing I wrote down about it. Glowworms. It was all glowworms.
And she picks out a crown for herself. It's the first crown that she picks out for herself, and Reese didn't choose for her.
Yeah.
I don't have the description down, but it's basically a bunch of stars.
Me either.
And I think a moon on it, or a crescent moon. I don't know. But
it sounds beautiful.
It's stars for sure to represent their court.
Yeah.
So they're all ready. She's in her Starfall gown that they had modified. She wore that again.
She loves her Starfall gown. She wears it every time there's a big event.
Yeah, which I'm get it, girl.
Yeah.
If I had a dress like that, I would too.
I guess.
I would. I mean, I guess when you have that much money, you could buy a dress a new pretty dress
she just likes that one.
Yeah. Nesta comes down the stairs and she looks like she's ready, and she decided that she changed her mind for the meeting. She's gonna go. She didn't want to be remembered as a coward.
Yeah. But the fucked up thing is, Feyre tries to talk her out of it. Even though she was like, you need to come to this meeting.
Yeah, no, she worked really hard to tell her she had to come. She asked her 15 times. And then when she's like, I'll go, she's like, well,
you don't have to, Yeah.
You sure? It's because I have a feeling that Feyre just doesn't want to be one-upped. She's like, I'm finally it.
Yeah, I think she's jealous. I see it.
When Hybern was after them, you want who?
Yeah, the twin ravens.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Reese offers Nesta the position at that point of emissary of the human lands, of the human world, because obviously
because she wants to fight for
Feyre doesn't have the position anymore.
Yeah, because she got promoted to High Lady. So it's open.
Yeah, she got promoted after about 3 months of work. So she must have really been doing it.
Climbing the ladder.
Holy shit. And Nessa's like, I'll consider it, but understand I'm gonna make you pay through the teeth.
So it sounds like she wants it.
But she just was like,
she just wants
being
some money.
very coy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Did she ever accept formally? Because they offered
I don't remember her having
like a bunch of times later.
Did they really?
Yes.
I actually don't remember that. Okay, so hold on, give me a second. Okay, so Cassie and Nesta at this point do have a moment.
Yeah, Reese and Farah are about to winnow, and then like they start to talk, so they like slow down the winnowing so they can overhear.
I can't imagine what that would look like, but my favorite thing is that like Cassie, so Moore's supposed to winnow the two of them, and Cassian's like not even looking at Moore, just holding like Moore's like, come on, and he's like, anyways, Nesta.
And then when he's ready, he sticks his hand out.
Yeah, he doesn't even look at her. It's like fucking Cassian. Okay, so they show up to the meeting, and at that point, they have to like they winnow in on like a bridge, and they have to walk up like a aggressive amount of stairs. I would assume.
Don't remember.
I'd be so annoyed, but the first people that are there are Healy and Callias, and Thesan. Obviously, Thesan's there; it's his house.
Yeah.
And there's some tension. There's some obvious tension clearly between Reese and Callias. Even though what?
Cleus is the Winter Court.
Yes.
And do we know why there's tension? Is it because of what happened with Amarantha?
We find out shortly after. So even though it's so funny because they have such a close like tension situation going on there, but then Moore sees Callias's new wife, Vivian, who was his like longtime best friend,
right, from childhood,
and like he never knew he loved her, and then they went under the mountain, and like Vivian was holding down his people that didn't get captured. Mm-hmm. And then when he got out, he came to her immediately. She realized her feelings, and she kissed him, and he like got down on his knee and asked to marry her. And then while they were fucking, their mating bond snapped into place.
There it is.
So Vivian tells all that to Moore like right then.
Okay.
And so it like they're close. They're really close, right. Vivian and Moore.
But like Amarantha's reign had kept them apart, obviously, for like 50 years.
Right, and obviously there has been this crazy tension between now the High Lords, right?
Yeah.
So Thesan's people are Peregrines.
Peregrines. Yeah, Peregrines.
Oh, that's how it is. Peregrines.
I think so.
I was like, where's the extra letter in that? That doesn't sound right, does it? And they have feathered wings. They're distant relatives of the seraphims of Draken's people, who you'll remember Draken and Miriam.
Of course, of our story. It was very clear and legible, our story.
Very, 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 very understanding what we were speaking that. So, and also, I was going to say this. Thesan is our gay icon of the series.
Yes.
He is our gay icon.
He has his lover is his captain. Is that
of his guard? Yep.
Captain of his guard. That's two hats to wear.
I love that for Mr. Thesan. Yeah. It seems that a theme in this is maybe like fucking your way to the top.
Ooh. Good call.
We got Farah. We got Thesan's lover. Like, Jesus.
Vivian. No, I'm just kidding.
Can we just like do this based off of credentials, please?
Right.
And thank you. So Tarquin, Cressida, and Varian then show up, and then Baron and his fucking dipshit sons and his wife come as well. And right when the meeting's supposed to start, they're like literally having a couple words in, and Tamlin winnows right into the room, which no one had winnowed into the room. They winnowed like down the stairs.
Respectfully.
Yeah. And he's just like eyeballing the shit out of Farah and Reese.
So annoying.
He's so annoying. Oh my God. It was like kind of crazy. So then he starts just spouting some bullshit.
And
right?
as soon as he came in, everyone snapped up shields around themselves because they don't trust him.
They really don't trust him. Like no one's wanting to tell him anything.
Yeah.
Gillian's like, why the fuck are you here? Thesan's like, why are you here? And so he starts spouting off a bunch of shit. Right?
Oh my gosh.
This is just the gist of kind of how the interaction was. Like, why are you here? We don't trust you. Well, I'm going to be Tamlin. Okay. Reese is the reason I made the deal with Hybern. If he didn't take Farah in the middle of the night, that's what he says, mm-hmm. I wouldn't have to go to such desperate measures. And Farah's like, the sun was shining when I left you.
I love that.
And everyone's like, oh no.
That's the first thing she said.
And then he like kind of slut shames the shit out of her for about 5 minutes. And at the end of it, he literally asks Reese, he goes, if he notices the little noise she makes before she climaxes. just like the lowest of lows. And then Azriel, my shadow daddy of life, goes, "Be careful how you speak to my high lady."
Ooh, that was a good Az impression.
Thank you. I want to marry him. Am I married? Yes. Do I want to get a divorce and marry Azriel? Yes. Okay, so
Does your husband listen?
he's fake. No.
Okay, it's fine.
It's fine. If he does, he knows it. Okay, so and then he tries to weaponize her ambition, like basically saying it wasn't enough for you to be my lady. Like you had to go over to Rhys and he'll make you high lady. And this is my favorite part of it because Rhys's response to this is so iconic. He goes, "I didn't make her high lady because of her power. I made her high lady because I love her."
So
okay, Tamlin,
write that one down.
Write it down. You didn't do it. Okay, it wasn't because of her qualifications. No, it's how well she rides that dick.
That's insane.
That's why I promoted her, and you know it. It's because of that little noise she makes right before she climaxes.
Oh my gosh,
it gets me.
But he says the most petty stuff, Tamlin. It's so annoying.
It really is annoying, but that is iconic of Rhys.
That was good.
Everyone is looking around the room like, "Oh, so she's not qualified?" We're getting that. Okay.
That was insane.
So insane. And then he looks at Rhys and he's like, he looks at the other High Lords and he goes, "How can you even work with him after Under the Mountain?" Like there has been so much stuff. And this is where we find out that obviously we knew at the very beginning that 12 Winter Court younglings had been murdered.
Oh, yes.
It was Amaranth that did that. The reason they did that is because I think it had said that the Winter Court had rebelled.
Yeah.
And Amarantha was so pissed that she was going to kill Kallias. And Rhysand was there while Amarantha gave the order to kill the younglings.
Right, and so they blame Rhys, right? Kind of.
Yes. Yeah. At this point, they do blame Rhys.
Yes.
And so that does kind of drive a riff a little bit. And then they're like, no. And then Rhys explains. He says, "When I was under the mountain, she wanted to kill you, Kallias." And mind you, Vivian is now his mate. So like he doesn't just think about himself anymore. He thinks about him and his potential future family.
Right.
And I convinced her not to, but I think she took that and thought that I was like fighting for you guys, like
right.
maybe something. And so she retaliated and killed the younglings instead. So I guess in a long-winded way, maybe it was his fault, but like also it wasn't.
Yeah, he did what he could.
Yeah,
he did what he could.
He couldn't fight something he didn't know was going to happen.
Right.
And so after that, Kallias decides like, all right, you know what? I believe you. Like they're good. They kind of fix their riff, and then they're like, "Why are you here, Tamlin?" And Tamlin's like, "I have insider information about Hybern's army, ammunition, stores, caches of Fabane," and so he like brings the stuff on the table. People don't fully believe
like
him.
A stack of papers.
And then Helion like copies them with his magic. And so everyone has a copy, but no one like even looks at it yet. Tamlin then again, like this is how tedious it is. Like it's this many times.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He again calls her spoiled goods and a whore. And then at this point, Rhys has had enough. He's like, this is some shit. So he uses his mind to get him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. He silences him. So he's continuing to talk, but nothing's coming out, right?
Yeah, yeah. He was like trying to say something else. I can't remember exactly what he was trying to say, but so after that they have a little like powwow to like, I don't know, just like a bunch of they're like talking about Rhys's credibility essentially.
Yeah. And they went into this meeting saying, we're going to take the mask off. We're going in as family.
We're going to let them know the truth.
Valeris is not a secret anymore. So we have to be ourselves. So and then they do a really bad job of showing themselves.
They do kind of do a poor job of showing that.
They do.
And he's fighting it the whole time. And I think he's got good stuff but I think Tamlin makes a really good point here. He's like, how do you guys know that they're not trying to go for a run at King and Queen of Prythian? Like, try and use this war to your advantage.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that's interesting.
That is interesting.
He vehemently was like, no, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So anyways, at the end of this, Tarquin rescinds the blood rubies because he's also over the fucking shit. Rhys is like, I believe you, Tamlin. He is really sweet. I love Tarquin. Mm-hmm. I believe you. I believe you. You want to fight for us, like whatever. And he releases him, and then they actually can start talking about.
Then the meeting begins.
Like real shit. But not before Eris decides to tell Mor she's just dressed like a slut. And then Azriel jumps across. He loses his shit, blasts his power, breaks through his shield, tackles him to the ground, and strangles him. And the only thing that stops him, even Rhys is stop Az. And the only thing that stops him is Feyre.
Yeah, she got up, was like, oh.
That's how she shows her power, like as if he's a dog that she can control.
That's good.
So crazy.
Before Eris Azriel let go of Eris, and he whispered something in his ear, and Eris was like, oh, what do you think he said?
You're gay.
I was gonna say,
I know you're gay.
The autumn court is the worst, or autumn is the worst season.
It's so different.
And you're gay.
I know you're gay.
Like, in a real way.
I know you're attracted to me. I know you want this.
Is that what you think?
Kind of.
Oh, that's gonna be in our theories episode.
Yes, for sure. Okay. I have a theory about with more in him as well. I think that like the gaydar can detect it. Oh,
very good.
Why did I say that? Okay, anyways.
I talked over it. It's okay.
Okay, we'll cut that out. Okay, so Feyre, like I said, Feyre manages to get him off, like calm the fuck down. He whispers in his ear, and he goes sits next to Feyre. They go over the information that Tamlin bought, and Helion is like, oh my god, hold on, let me start this up. Shit, sorry. Okay, they go over the information that Tamlin brought, and Helion's like, okay, I have 2 recommendations. One, we need to find all the caches of Faebane and figure out a way to destroy them. And then 2, we need to get your people out of the Spring Court.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then Daddy Tarquin's like, we'll take your people, Tamlin. I'm like, you are a god.
Yeah. Someone else did too. Didn't they split it?
No, I think it was just Tarquin.
Okay.
Tarquin was being that fucking guy.
I love Tarquin.
And then Baron starts running his mouth, and everyone in the room, including Rhys, oh, wait, no, I'm at the wrong part. What am I doing? I'm all fucked up.
That's okay.
Okay, so they go over the information that that Tamlin brought in, and they're like, yeah, we need to destroy the Faebane and get your people out of the Spring Court. Tamlin is like, well, how the fuck are we going to do that? How are we going to like get rid of their caches of Faebane? The Autumn Court even is like, okay, we'll take care of it. And then Thesen's like, no worries. And then like brings in Nuan, who is, how would you describe her position?
She's an alchemist, right?
Yeah, and like an inventor almost.
Yeah, like a tinkerer.
Yeah, which is she actually created Lucian's eye.
Yes, well, that's just very fun. I love that.
I do too. It's awesome. And basically she created this antidote that if you ingest it, it makes you like immune to the Faebane.
To the effects of the Faebane, yeah.
Yes, but it wouldn't do anything if you
were stabbed with it. Yeah, if it's in your bloodstream already, I guess. It's crazy that no one has tried to dismantle the Faebane situation going on, because they've been getting fucked up with Faebane for
a while.
Yeah.
It seems like it'd be pretty hard, like it'd be pretty difficult to do it though.
Az could do it. He could.
Does he study that?
But I mean, he could figure out a way. He could have found Nuan. I mean, I guess it got done. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did. I see what you're saying. Like he could have distributed what they needed.
Yeah.
Got it. And so we're going over like who would take it. Like what High Lords are like, oh, whatever. Feyre's like, we'll take it. All the women are, we'll take it. And then the men are like, oh. No. The rest, most of the people are like, we'll take it. But Tamlin's being a whiny ass bitch. She's like, well, if I had a fucking army, if Feyre didn't dismantle my army, I would have people to take it. But I don't. I'll take it.
Every second he can get.
Literally any chance he can get. It's so ridiculous. And then Baron starts running his mouth about literally everyone in the room. And then including Rhys, calling him a whore and bad. Like really bad. Like, not just, oh, Rhys, you're a whore. It was like, you were on your knees for Amarantha. Yeah. You're going to be on your knees if we lose to Hybern.
It's disgusting.
Feyre loses her shit. Little reminder, they were not supposed to show her power.
Yes. Also, it's supposed to be like a peaceful meeting. Like, there's not going to... are you going to get to that?
We have literally already had one fight. And we were told in the earlier section of this book that if there's any fight that breaks out in a High Lords meeting... Like the people that maybe started it, like you pay with your life, like something intense.
They would die.
Yeah. So far, there's been one fight and nothing happened to either of those people. And then Feyre gets so pissed at Baron that she like breaks through his shield and puts him in a fucking water ball.
Oh my god, it's so cool though.
And he's like trying to push his fire out, and she's like pushing her spell cleaving power and like every other power back. She's like she showed almost every single one of her powers.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah. And that was like the one thing that they were gonna hide.
Like literally, like maybe show one, but you don't have to show all 7 at once. It's crazy. And it's bad. It almost kills Baron with it, and Rhys manages to snap her out of the red haze.
She was going to.
She was gonna fucking 86 that bitch. Which honestly, I kind of wish that she did.
Yeah. Get it over with.
Yo, oh my god. And Baron gets so pissed, he like jumps up and he's which is fair.
Yeah. Also fair.
Like he did just almost get killed.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're fucking leaving, basically. And Nesta goes, no, you are not. Like this meeting is not over. And she gives this pretty inspiring speech, which I was like, go Nest.
Yeah.
And at the end, Baron is like, you can tell that he heard it and he felt it. And he's like, we'll think about it or we'll consider it. And then he winnows his whole family out. So thank God they're gone.
Yeah.
We got the wet blankets out of there.
They were terrible.
And then the other High Lords don't, like, in my opinion, there wasn't all that much time spent on it. Or, like, it didn't feel like that big of a deal. The other High Lords seem to, like, not really give a fuck. They're like, yeah.
About the humans?
That Farah has their powers.
Oh, yeah. They're, like, kind of impressed. And Helion was like, I wonder where that bit of power went.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Thiesen's looking at her up and down like, if I slit this bitch open, let's see if I can find it. Let me see if I can root around.
Like literally like with a scalpel.
But like other than that, like it wasn't all that big of a deal.
Yeah.
They talk for...
That's true.
Which is kind of crazy because Tamlin was so stressed out about it.
That's
like,
true.
Unbelievably stressed out about it.
Huge point of contention in the early days.
In their relationship, and they literally just like gave her a 1-2 and like,
yeah.
We're like, all right, what are you gonna do? And see, when you train her powers, like what you can do against one High Lord that doesn't like it, that would have probably slit her open if she wasn't trained or prepared. Tamlin!
That was good.
Tamlin! Anyways, and so at that point, so they all kind of chat for a couple more hours. Mm-hmm. I don't know what about. It just says they kind of have conversations, and then they all basically Thiessen is like, you can stay. You're more than welcome to stay. And they decide to have one big High Lord sleepover. At the Dawn Court, which is so cute. And so they can continue conversations the next day. Mm-hmm. Helion, with those nice thighs and those pretty eyes, comes to visit that night, and he has some nice thighs. She described his thighs as like so nice. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The Thigh Lord, Thigh Lord of the High Court.
The Thigh Lord.
Thigh Lord of the. Wait.
The Thigh Lord of the High Court.
What's wrong with me? Oh my god!
I didn't even notice.
I'm stressed out. The Thigh Lord of the Day Court. There it is.
There he is.
Oh my god, that was so difficult.
Oh, it's funny.
So he comes over to chat some shit with everybody, and through this through this conversation, right? He's kind of talking.
Sorry for laughing.
This edibles, I think, getting to me because I don't feel like I feel anything like I've ever felt. I can't read. I don't know where I'm at. Okay, I can't even tell anymore. I'm so stressed out. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Helion with the nice thighs. Comes to their room, and.
Thigh Lord Helion of the Day Court.
The Thigh Lord of the Day Court. #. Okay, it's so amazing. And he is our bisexual king. Our bisexual king of this universe. We love him. He hits on Mort and Cassian when he walks in.
And Azriel.
And he asks like when they're gonna like be in his bed. And they're like, we've said no for the last 300 years. Like, let it be.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, who would say? And Farah's even like, why didn't they say yes? And then Rhys in her mind is like, do you want a third? And I was like,
toes are curling. Breasts are tightening.
They'd pick Azriel probably, you think? If they had a 3-way with anyone else in the inner circle.
That's a good bet because he doesn't talk.
It would be one. He's definitely a freak in the sheets.
Oh,
like more so than the other two, I bet. Okay, so they talk about like Baron's intentions and like what they think he's gonna do, whether he means to fight or like whether he's just gonna kind of hide at home. Mm-hmm. And Helion starts talking about like the first war he played games, and then it basically leads to them talking about how he fucked the lady of the Autumn Court for like years upon years after the war because he saved her life in the first war. Mm-hmm. And then Feyre's like looking at him and she's like, oh my God.
She makes a connection.
She's like, that is Lucian's father. That's Lucian's father. Because the Lady of the Autumn Court is his mother.
Yeah.
And that is his father.
And Rhys knows it right away.
Rhys agrees. And she's like, this is my thing too. Feyre's like, why have you never even thought about this before? And he's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
There's no way. I think he can't be that stupid. I feel like if Feyre figured it out in 4 seconds, she couldn't even figure out the fucking riddle.
That's true.
For 3 months. Like, come on, you knew. You knew. Yeah, and that's why Eris detests him. Or that's why Eris saved him. Wait.
Yeah, that's why Eris did not try to kill him.
Did not try and saved him.
And saved him because he's not a threat to the Autumn Throne. Eris knows that.
Yeah, and that's also why Lucian is the Lady of the Autumn Court's favorite son.
Yep. Because he's Helian's father, which is like the one man she actually loves.
Yeah, and that's like
which is really sad.
Her favorite love child. Yeah, it's really sad. But she also they do allude that she had an opportunity to leave if she wanted to.
Right.
But she didn't.
Yeah. But Helian didn't seem to know that.
No, he did know that. He's the one that said she stayed on her own terms. Not everything happens like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
But like more
like yours is.
She said Moore says that the Lady Autumn waited before agreeing to marry Baron.
Oh, but that was before the war, though.
Oh, but I thought he seemed confused, and he thought that she didn't have a choice and was sold to Baron. So I feel like there was just like a miscommunication somewhere,
right
in there.
No, but what
am I misreading?
No, that wasn't after the war though, because they were already married during the war. So that story about her marrying Baron happened before the war.
Right.
So what are you saying? Because because Feyre asked Baron, why haven't you gotten her out of there? Why don't you have her leave?
Since then, okay.
Since they fucked, and he was like, I tried. She decided to stay
there. Got it. We're on the same page now. Okay. I got up.
I was so confused.
I was way behind.
That's my bad. Okay. Okay. So
do Lucian and Helian don't know?
Lucian, yeah, that is important to know. Lucian or Helian don't know.
Okay.
And that's interesting to me too, because how does Helian not see Lucian his own son? And we have to assume that they've seen each other because Lucian was the emissary to.
They were all under the mountain together.
Well, that too, yes. Yeah. But how did he not see that and know that?
Maybe because Helian's super shallow and super superficial.
Yeah.
Doesn't think about things like that. I don't know.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
Oh.
By the way, the whole time Azriel's like pouting in a corner because of what happened with Moore and Eris, because Moore was like freaked out. She's not talking to him. And then Nesta like runs out of her room and tells Feyre something's wrong. And they check everything to make sure that it's fine. They even check in Valaris, but they're like, nothing's wrong. And she's like, dude, no, there is something wrong. I feel like I forgot something. I'm having mad anxiety. It's just really bad. But they eventually decide to just let it be because they've already done all
they're like, we don't see anything. Sorry, we're just going to stay.
And then Moore takes Helian to bed that night. And Feyre is being her nosy ass self yet again. And asking Rhys, like, what the fuck's going on with that? Why don't they just say their feelings? And Rhys literally is like, leave it, Feyre. Like, we don't.
Like, we can't interfere.
This is not our biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like, this is literally not it at all.
Stop worrying about it.
For real. And then Feyre tells Rhys that she did look for his mother's wings and at Tamlin's place when she was there the last time she was in the spring court, and that Tamlin had said that he burned them.
Yeah, and I think Rhys was thankful.
He was, no, for sure.
Right.
Still just like,
because it offered his mom and sister that peace at last.
For sure. If they were, maybe I wouldn't want them, but like it felt like he wanted them, so I'd be sad.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing that I have to say too is like, I get that you don't want to stay in your friend's business, but like I feel like their relationship or lack thereof or situation like affects the group.
Everybody.
So how no one has ever said anything to me or like justified
in
it.
500
it's not
years.
Our problem. Yeah, what the fuck?
Even 20 years, I feel like would be too long.
I'd be so irritated watching this going on. I'd be like, "Are you the fuck?"
No,
don't blame Feyre. She's been there for 6 months. She can't keep her nose out.
And they harp on it a lot. In this first half of the book,
literally, it's so much.
Okay, so even though Mort and Helian were like really loud during the night, that Rhys had to shield the room from them. The next morning, she's looking sad. It's pointed out many times, like I just said, Mort and Azriel are ignoring each other, and it's actually really annoying.
So annoying.
Nesta is still worried, but she's okay. They prepare for another day of bickering with the other High Lords. Not too long into the meeting, Nesta has a fit. Her hands are on her chest. She's losing her balance after surging to her feet. She's sweating. She looks confused and in pain and collapses and throws up into the reflection pool. Everyone's super worried. Cassian is by her side. Helion and Thesan both step up to help her using their powers, but they don't find anything. And she's like, something is wrong. But not with her, with the cauldron. And then there's a rumbling, a shuddering of the earth. The mountain shook, debris falling, and then it stopped. And they can hear screaming from outside. And then Rhys shoots his power south and says to the group, the king of Hybern just used the cauldron to shatter the wall.
I love how he just knew right off the rip.
Hey, he's just like, I'm just going to go take a look, see what's going on.
Yeah, how does he look that far? That's pretty far.
His powers, I guess, are enormous.
Oh my God.
But Nesta knew what was happening because of her connection to the cauldron, obviously. She can feel it gathering its power to take the wall down. And they think that's also a reason that Hybern wants her, because she's like a warning bell.
Yeah.
Everyone leaves within minutes, promising to rally their forces, except for Tamlin. He leaves without a word. We don't know what he's going to do. No word from Baron either, because they didn't make any promises. During goodbyes, Varian asks Rhys and Feyre to tell Amren thank you, and he's about to say more, but he promises that he'll tell her himself because he's in love with Amren and thinks he's going to die.
Oh, he's like so sure of it.
I love him.
Like, can't handle it the whole time he's anywhere. There hasn't even been a battle plan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're back at the townhouse. Nesta and Feyre are worried about the humans back home. Rhys offers their household refuge in the night court, but Nesta says they're not going to go for that. They're running through the options. Nothing's looking good. And then Elaine offers up Grayson's estate. His father has the space, the walls, the weapons, the stores of food, a grove of ash trees, escape tunnels. He was a doomsday prepper. He's got the resources.
Yeah.
And
that's so funny.
It is. The way that I picture the Grayson's estate is so pathetic.
Yeah.
It
seems like a really sad prison, honestly.
Yeah, like 4 walls and then like a tiny house in the middle. But I guess it's bigger than that. And
yeah, they have like multiple buildings for different things. Like that would be a town if like everything else went to shit.
That's cool.
Which is crazy.
I don't picture it like that, unfortunately. Cassian starts to consider this idea, and Elaine says they have dogs trained to hunt and detect fairies. How the hell did they manage to train those dogs to do that? And
they were catching and torturing them, I bet.
Also, what's a couple of dogs against any of them?
That's true.
I don't know. Dogs can be scary.
Probably just to sniff them out. Yeah. Like, probably
just a warning.
They'd be like, yeah.
Elaine thinks if she's glamored to look human, she can convince them to open their gates to those seeking refuge. They all prepare to talk to the Illyrians before they mobilize them, and then they're off to the estate. Cassian tells Nesta to kill any human who tries to hurt her because he isn't coming along to the estate. He gives her a knife and gives her a crash course in how not to die and what to do if someone gets a hold of her. And like Feyre's watching the whole time, and when he leaves, she looks at Feyre and she's like, don't even say anything. Don't even start. Which is funny.
That's so funny because she knows.
They all know. Before they leave, Feyre goes to Amren to bluntly ask, what do you know about the creature under the library? And she tells her its name is Bryaxis or Bryaxis.
I think it's whatever. I say Bryaxis.
Bryaxis sounds better. And she's like, I need you to help me right now. I'm going to make another bargain with Bryaxis because I know that Rhys will burn himself out in this war if it gives us a chance, and this might help.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're at the bottom of the pit. Feyre explains to Bryaxis she wants to make another bargain, and Amren silently confirms she can break the wards containing him if needed. The bargain is fight for me and my High Lord in the war in exchange for freedom from the pit. But he doesn't like that idea because he likes his pit. It's his home, and all he wants is sunlight, moonlight, and the stars. And
he wants a window.
Yeah, and somebody to talk to.
I literally was laughing so hard during this part too because I'm like, what the fuck?
It was funny.
What's wrong with all these crazy evil portrayed monsters that not only love Feyre, it probably would fuck up anyone else that came down there, but then also just want these cute ass gifts. Yeah, like what is this about?
It's funny and charming. I like it.
I want a window. I just want someone to talk to for like an hour.
That's how he sounds. Feyre hides this bargain from others, except for Rhys, and she doesn't know why she hides it.
So weird. She's like Reese is like lying is a disease. Moore's lying is a disease. They can't help but lie to people now. It's like catching fire.
Yeah, catching fire. Yeah. Before Reese and Feyre leave, they take one last look at the townhouse, and Feyre promises they'll see it again. And it sounds like a bunch of people are gonna die in this war.
Yeah,
that's what they keep linking.
Like they don't expect to come home, which is interesting.
And it's sad.
I don't know why Feyre doesn't expect to come home. I don't get that fully.
What do you mean? Because Hybern's armies are so devastating. They're all going to die.
No, that's true. Like if they were to lose. Like that's okay. So they just this whole time they just think you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm, the whole time. They went out to the Illyrian camps. Rhys confirms to Devlin and the Illyrian army before him that indeed the wall has come down. Devlin notices Nesta and says, "What the hell even is that?"
He's so done. He's so done.
He's like, "Is that a witch?"
He can't stand her.
And before anybody could say anything, she's like, "Yes, I'm a witch."
She's like,
Cassian's like, no, she's not a witch. She's just a high fae. But they are afraid of her. They see something more terrifying in her, which is super interesting.
It's mostly Devlin because they allude to him having like a specific power where he can like off the rip, like say probably if you're highborn fae or if you're a half Illyrian, like whatever, like
yeah,
it seems that he has that's because he can maybe there's a heat signature or something that like radiates differently or a scent or whatever.
Yeah,
that she's not.
Not of this realm.
Whatever the fuck she is not what he likes.
And then Moore shifts to reveal Elaine for some reason. She's like, "Why don't you just take a look at this?"
Yeah, why in the fuck?
And Rhys is like, "Get them inside a tent. Devlin is about to throw a hissy fit." And why did they even have to come to this meeting in the first place? It's so confusing for me.
They didn't. I'll never understand how they can literally teleport places and like just like they take people like as if it's like a car ride. It's like
you're going it's on the way
as much time. Yeah, like but is it like saving time?
It's
like
not.
they're supposed to be like teleporting literally. No, that's so funny.
When they're situated inside the tent, Nesta asks Moore what the difference between a fairy and a witch even is, and she explains witches are able to use / acquire power greater than what the cauldron gave them, which is interesting. I wonder how they do that. Elaine is not taking being glamored into a human well at all. She's like, "Will it hurt?" And they're like, "Just act human." She's like, "I already do that." And they're like, "Well, just keep your vision."
That's like a perfect Elaine.
I didn't do that. No, it wasn't.
I do that. That's who I am.
They're like, "Just keep your vision talk at 0. Okay, that's all we ask." Yeah. And more glamours her, and Elaine is disappointed at how ordinary she looks. She's like, "Dang,
I thought she was pretty when she was a human."
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
And she didn't want to be, I don't know. It's confusing. They're off to Grayson's estate. It's pretty heavily guarded. The walls are tall, like they said they would be. Elaine speaks first and asks the guards to tell Grayson that his betrothed begs for sanctuary.
I wonder if they remember to put tracks in the snow this time. It's not snowing.
In the dirt then.
In the dirt, yeah.
Elaine admits she wants in with Grayson because their house has been begging for a woman's touch for years. The decorating. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
A guard runs to relay their message, and finally someone shouts, "He'll come out to see you." So they're led inside a small guard house to wait. Feyre admits to Nesta, who is watching her, that she has problems with small spaces because she's starting to freak out a little bit. And then Nesta reveals that she has to use buckets when she bathes because she can't get into bathtubs anymore, which is really sad.
Yeah, that's really sad.
It's the cauldron, and no one even thinks about anything.
Like, how do they not like recall that like PTSD is a thing?
Right.
You know what
the
I'm
fire
saying?
crackling later.
I'll be honest, like a lot of people in that inner circle, in my opinion, really only like in the moment think about themselves. Maybe that's like a thing that happens after 500 years of being alive.
Maybe, but
I don't know.
More for sure.
Ugh.
Feyre is taken aback by this admission, but promises to find another solution when they get back home. And finally, Lord Grayson and his father, whose name is Nolan, approach with 24 guards. Grayson at first seems happy to see Elaine, but Nolan holds him back. He asks to explain their presence. And Elaine is like, where? And then Ness is like, "The wall has come down."
Yeah. Yeah.
They ask, "How are you, High Fae?" And Nesta explains everything. Feyre introduces herself as High Lady of the Night Court, and Rhys-Anne as her husband and not mate, which is interesting. Elaine begs for sanctuary for her family and any family that needs it. Grayson reveals he knows she's lying. Nolan is insulted. They think they can deceive them in their own home, and they're like, "Well, what do you mean? It's true. It's all true." And then Jurian walks out.
I love him. I can't even lie.
Grayson. Nolan?
Jurian.
I do too. He's MVP.
He is
this book.
MVP of this book, 1,000%. So this is actually where I'm going to go with it. Jurian, my boy, the Hybern human ringer.
I need that on a t-shirt.
The Hybern human ringer, for whatever reason, was actually pretending to be mad this whole time. And he was pretending to be working with Hybern.
Mad as in like insane.
Did I say?
You said mad, which is works.
Oh, yeah. He was pretending to be mad. He was pretending to be...
like, we're angry. Oh, I'm so mad. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he was pretending to be mad at Miriam. Dragon.
Okay, but okay. So, this is a really good part. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I'm laughing too much. Go ahead.
He tells Reese to look into his mind, and then he hasn't, like, so he knows that he hasn't been on their side, that he isn't lying.
Yeah.
That all this stuff that he's saying is true. And Reese apparently has been forgetting to use that power that he has for like a long time. There was like at least 2 instances where he forgets that he has like the ability to control minds. And one was when he was fighting the guards, or like when the alarm went off with the Book of Breathings in the summer court. He was like, I forgot.
Yeah, you could have just sat there and
control minds.
Control them from one spot.
And then in this situation, when they were in Hybern, he probably could have gone into Hybern and Jurian's mind before the wards went up, or at least Jurian's mind, to kind of get plans. And he was like...
He admitted... Oh, he said he didn't do it because he was afraid to see Amarantha.
Oh, that's right.
In his vision.
Yes, that's what he says now, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah, it's just an excuse. He's like, oh.
Yeah, I would have been like, Reese, where was the mind control power?
Come on.
So Jurian says that he wants to find Miriam and Draken, but to apologize, not to like beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then Jurian reveals Tamlin. So they go back. Oh shit. Sorry. I wrote that. Okay. So anyways, so the king of Hybern comes down. He's like, a bebop bop. I'm here, actually. And then
the state.
Oh my God, where am I?
I don't know. Okay, wait. So Jurian just showed up.
I should have taken this edible. I'm really struggling. I can't stop it. It's so weird.
We gotta keep going. Drink some water.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm like having a hard time. I didn't think it was gonna affect me this bad. I forgot where we were in that one.
You're like, wait, Hybern is not. He doesn't show up. I don't think.
I'm not okay.
Yeah, we're not making a second drink.
I'm so sorry. It's not the drink. It's the
I know,
apple.
but it's not gonna help us for sure.
So bad.
Okay. Wait, hold on.
Okay. Goodness gracious.
So just start from the top of chapter 53.
No, not the top. That's aggressive.
It's just Jurian.
All right, Jurian, the Hybern human ringer, was actually pretending to be crazy, to be like driven mad.
Yeah.
This whole time, and pretending to be working for Hybern because he essentially was resurrected around a bunch of enemies. Like, what else was he gonna do?
Yeah. He's like, and I can't believe any of them thought for one moment he wasn't going to fight with the humans, because that's all he's ever shown in his entire personality.
That's so true. He's like a human enthusiast, and he fought like side by side,
100%
with more
of the time. Yeah,
absolutely. So
and
it's like,
and the king was like, "We'll bring him back. He'll want Miriam back.
He'll literally fight for the Fae because he wants Miriam, dude. I'm telling you, dude. She's obsessed with her."
Jurian comes back. He's like, "What the fuck is going on?
I don't even care about Miriam.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah, Miriam.
Who's Miriam?
Anyway.
I forgot. Oh my God. Anyways, and so he tells him to look into his mind to see that all of this is true. And Reese just like randomly forgets to use his power, like anytime it's convenient. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, he did it at the summer court.
He did it at the summer court fighting off the guards, and he did it in Hybern.
That's right. Yeah, because he didn't look into Jurian's mind to see where his head was at, because he was afraid to see Amarantha inside there.
And that's what he said. But I think that's
excuse.
I think it's bullshit, if I'm being honest. Jurian wants to find Miriam and Draken because he wants to apologize to them, not to like kill them or
beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, or anything like that. And then Jurian reveals that Tamlin went back to Hybern after the High Lords meeting, and they plan to attack the summer court the next day.
So do we assume that Tamlin is with Hybern now, or he's going for some other reason?
So that's my interpretation of it. Like,
okay.
He ran back to him after the High Lords meeting, and I think he's even said something like he had spied, or he gave some indication that that was what happened.
Okay. It was confusing. It was a confusing read for me.
Yeah, I can see that too. Maybe I can't remember exactly what was said, but Elaine tells Grayson, she's like, they're still staring at each other. She's like, my heart, belongs to you. Like, he's like, I love you. Like, I want to be with you. Like, da 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 da. And he really could not be more like rude and ruthless.
Yeah.
About it.
And it's funny because like Nolan was like, whoa, chill.
Even Nolan was like, for fuck's sake, like he might as well have just like punched the shit out of her.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the older generation is the one that's usually worse, and it's flip-flop this time.
Which was so weird because he walked in like so like hopeful.
Oh, Elaine. Oh, because I guess she was still glamored as human, so maybe he was fooled immediately.
Even though he had been told just then by so it's interesting. I don't know.
It is interesting.
Nesta comes up and just smacks the shit out of him. That's literally how rude he was.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, and says that he never deserved Elaine. And then with some threats from Jurian, Grayson and his father do agree to shelter like other humans that need any kind of refuge during that point. And then Jurian, they kind of talk before they leave, but Jurian apologizes for shooting Azrael because Azrael dipped to go kind of coordinate with the Summer Court because there's supposed to be an attack. And they ask what he's going to do. And he's like, well, I'm probably going to go back to Hybern, check in, and then I'm going to go to the continent to sow some seeds of discord amongst the queens.
He's like, yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, just like whatever, what are you going to do? And he tells Cassian to hammer the left flank during the fight because there's some new green lords that are trying to rip up some shit in the battle. Mm-hmm. He congratulates Feyre on killing the incest twins. And then they head back to the war camp to prepare for the next day.
Can I just say real quick, Feyre refers to Nesta here as a queen.
Yeah.
And she has done this a couple times. She did it in the first couple chapters of the first book. And she does it again in the next book. And I don't think it's a coincidence.
You think that? I wonder where she would be a queen too. Right.
Me either, but I think it might happen.
There are theories online that I don't love, but I think are interesting, and I would
about that.
That's
interesting. I have not heard anything.
Yeah,
I thought that was original.
Fair enough.
Just kidding.
Okay, so they bring their Illyrian army to meet Hybern's forces on the border of the Spring Court and the Summer Court. This fight is honestly fairly easily won, in my opinion. What? I'm
just trying to figure out where we're at.
Oh! This is where they head back to the war camp to prepare for the next day.
Yeah.
So this fight with Hybern is really easily won. Honestly, I mean, it was within a few hours, but there was no like Faebane involved. They did have a pretty like weak left flank. Like it pretty much collapsed.
It was the left flank.
It was the left flank, and they even had the Summer Court's army. So they had cornered them with the Illyrian army, and then on the other side, the Summer Court's army showed up. Yeah. So it was kind of a slaughter.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Nesta and Cassian have a moment after this fight because the best warrior ever and probably the easiest fight that they're gonna have got injured. And
was his wings this time, or
no? It was his wrist.
His
wrist was sprained.
Are you serious?
So serious.
I was waiting for you to tell me the truth.
No.
But that was it.
No, literally his wrist was sprained.
Okay.
I had to go back through it and check. And she's like, how do I fix it? And he's like, bandage it. So she bandages it. And this Moore decides to walk in and just completely throw ice cold water on the simmer. But she walks in and he just like scrambles away from Nesta and is like, I'm fine. Like, I'm good. Like, to go comfort Moore. And I was like, that's rude.
That's weird.
And she literally was sat there like her hands were opened, like as if his hands was still in hers. Aww. She was like, look at, I'm like, girl, Nesta. I probably would be a dick to him after that too. Because she was. So, and then Hybern's forces are supposed to attack the Winter Court, and they didn't know that. Varian runs in, he's like, oh my God, the Winter Court's about to be attacked by Hybern. Their forces are moving that way. They didn't even know that their forces were over there.
Right. Because Hybern's doing a good job keeping it secret.
Right. And so they're like, shit, what are we going to do here? We have to fight that. But also if we leave this part open, it leaves like a pathway for them to go south. Mm-hmm. Like they might think that they can do that. So Varian goes, I got a plan. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to march north to help out the Winter Court, but we're going to throw a glamour over ourselves here so they think that we're here. Which was honestly pretty genius.
No, that's a good plan for sure.
And Feyre and Rhys are the ones that do this, and it drains both of them of probably 90% of their power.
Yeah.
So it's
to cloak the entire army.
Yeah, and like like basically
Glamour,
have it the area whatever, so that way people think that their army's still there.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of firepower for them. So they're pretty much drained and they're supposed to go into another battle. I guess like we've never seen Rhysand train, maybe like once in the second book.
Yeah.
But like
true.
he must be training at other times. Because he's not lasting in these battles.
No. He's lying about Cassian about his training.
Oh my God, Jesus. So I just thought that was interesting. But anyways,
that is interesting.
They do have so they meet the forces. And if I'm remembering correctly, right, the Winter Court's not there. So it seriously is just the Summer Court and the Illyrians and Kyr's army to fight some of these battles.
Yes. And this is a big one, right?
This is a big one. And to be fair, the Night Court has most of their forces, but that's only 2 courts. Imagine like they're missing the Winter Courts at this point. They're missing Dawn and they're missing Day. That's probably half an army.
True.
So I'm like, and they're always like, oh, we're not gonna beat like Hybern's bigger army. Like you probably have like somewhat comparative people. I guess I don't know the numbers, so that's what
it's hard to imagine.
So at this fight, it's not going as well as the last one. Hybern's forces are like very much like more prepared. They have the caches of Fabane there, and just overall their army just it's you could tell that like. This is their at least B team. This is maybe their A team, but this is their B team. And last battle, they had like their E team.
Yeah.
So
they're bringing it. I feel they're more prepared, right? They're expecting it.
Right. So like as of now, they're like winning the fight, and this is what prompts Feyre to go. I have to find the cereal immediately, like right now during this fight for just. I'm low of power. Like, let's just do it.
I gotta go now. Everyone's distracted.
Not because like anything that she would need to find out would affect them like ASAP.
Immediately.
Just
she just didn't want anybody to know.
She's just keeping her secrets. Anyway, so she decides that's when she's gonna go. So she asks Elaine, and Elaine like does like a little mind scrying thing. So her powers are fairly handy, which is interesting to me that she knows how to do this and she hasn't trained anything.
Well, Feyre walked her through it. She's like, just try, Elaine, and she did.
just take a breath and picture this person.
Yes,
that she's not okay. Well, that's good. Feyre's becoming a teacher. She's mastered her powers. Anyway, so she's like, oh, the cereal's in the middle, which is where the Weaver is, which is where Strega is. And if you remember, their last interaction was not an A+ situation.
Yeah,
it was not fun. So she's nervous about that. So she winnows somehow to the middle with like her low ass cachet of power at this point. And she like, does she even set us? I think she just lays down in like a cloak. Like,
and the cereal's already there.
And the cereal's like been waiting for you, girly girl.
Yeah, she was literally waiting for her.
It takes it like maximum a minute and a half for the cereal to get there. That's like max. And people have to wait hours for this thing. Ugh. Anyways. So she asks, so this is basically what their conversation goes over, right? So she asks where, like how to find the Hybern's forces. And she's like, and the cereal is like, even I can't see it, but you have a way of finding it. Like calls to like, Nesta. Have her scry for it, bones and stones.
Yes.
And she's like, okay, she's like, oh my God, where am I?
Bones and stones.
I know, it's all just. No, okay, I got it. Feyre asked why the cauldron did not react when she joined the book and then spoke the spell, and it's Feyre's like, or the cereal's like, you weren't holding on long enough. And she's like, well, it was about to kill me. And the cereal's like, well, what do you expect to nullify something so powerful?
Yeah. It's a lot of power. You need more people.
Right. Yeah. Like otherwise it'll drain your life.
Like the Guardians of the Galaxy. You'll get it.
I get it.
If you know, you know.
I don't know. I feel left out. I have FOMO. And then, she asks if people like the Bone Carver and Bryaxis are going to make a difference in the war. And she's like, well, she can't see them because they're not of this earth.
Ooh.
So she can't tell if it'll make a difference. She can't see that future. She can't see all that. And then Feyre tells the cereal that the carver wants the Ouroboros, and she asks if looking into it will drive her mad. And the cereal's like, the only thing that can break you is you, baby girl.
It's up to you.
Like, you
it's all
got
in your
this.
hands.
Girly, you got this. Just saying. And the cereal tells her that Amren has the answers to the war, and it lies in the second and penultimate pages of the book.
Yes.
And together they hold the key. I don't know what penultimate pages means.
It means the second to last.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the cereal is about to tell her something else that she needs to do to stop Hybern when an ash arrow suddenly bursts through the cereal's throat. And Ianthe and her 2 cronies are with her.
No.
Her Hybern cronies.
And it's my turn, right?
Yeah. Thank God. This is a pain.
Before I get to that.
What did I miss?
No, I'll tell you. It's not bad. The cereal says, she was talking like all their encounters, and she said, "This time you sent the trembling fawn to find me. I did not expect to see those doe eyes peering at me from across the world," which the cereal saw Elaine seeing her, which was interesting. I don't know what it means.
No, it seems to me like that she saw those.
Oh, because the cereal's all knowing. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen to that.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cereal is silently telling Feyre to run. The king of Hybern undid what Feyre did to Ianthe's mind, but not her hand. Her hand is still bummy. Ianthe says she captured the cereal with a robe that had a tracking spell that would alert Ianthe if Feyre was ever near it, and that's how she was found. And the robe was also a tattered piece of shit. But it's a clever thing. And then Feyre's like freaking out inside. She's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then she's like, I should have slit your throat that night in the tent. She's like, nice and cool and collected outwardly.
Yeah.
Her magic is drained. So she says a cool one-liner and runs away. It's something like, you'll have to catch me first. And then she runs away. But she's running to save the cereal. She has affection for the cereal. And if she winnowed out, Ianthe would take it back to Hybern, and who knows what they would do. So she runs toward the weaver's cabin. And the door is cracked a little bit, and she runs right inside. And Ianthe knows her shields are drained, and she's talking like a classic villain outside. And she's like, I know you're in there, Feyre. Too bad we're going to have to kill whoever's in there. You're not going to be able to use your little glowing trick this time. Which is so funny. She brought that one up. Yeah. It's still bothering her, and I love that.
She's like losing sleep over it every night.
The weaver can smell the bone carver on Feyre and asks, what are you? They can hear Ianthe chatting, and the weaver says, what did you bring me, Feyre? I don't think she calls her by her name. She's like, what did you bring me? And she says, dinner. And then after Ianthe and her guards had already walked in, and then she runs out, shuts the door, and runs. And I hope the weaver ate her.
It probably was something terribly and slow. I hope
it was
horrible.
Eaten. She runs back to the cereal, who is having trouble breathing. The cereal asks Feyre, don't waste your magic trying to save me. It's already too late. Can you just stay to the end? She tells Feyre that she knows about she knew about the tracking spell, but had come anyways. And Feyre's like, why did you come? And she said, you were kind. You fought your fear. You were kind. Feyre returns the sentiment and thanks the cereal for helping her. Before the end, the cereal says, stay with the High Lord and everything will be righted. And only now did Feyre realize she meant Rhys this whole time. And she says, I did. I stayed. The cereal says, no, not yet. Stay with him. That would have scared the shit out of me. Like, what do you mean? I am staying with him.
Yeah, like you think I'm going to leave?
Feyre asks what her name is, and she doesn't give it. She says it doesn't matter, which is really sad. R.I.P. Oh, she's not dead yet. Well, but she says, you need to go. Other creatures are being drawn here from the blood, and makes a final request. Request. Leave this world a better place than how you found it. Our beloved cereal takes one last breath and dies.
R.I.P. bitch.
Feyre realized the cereal helped her and was kind to her because she was a dreamer, and she lays her head on her chest and weeps. And I imagine it was for several minutes, but then Helion finds her there in the middle. And before they leave, she makes him give the cereal his crimson cloak. They put it on her body, and then Helion burns her with his ash power, and then they leave. R.I.P. the cereal.
R.I.P. in the arms of the angel.
Also, fuck Ianthe for giving it tattered robes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Fuck Ianthe for killing it. That's so rude.
I know.
What was the point?
Oh, it's because Ianthe tried to question the cereal and she wouldn't talk. She wouldn't talk.
She wouldn't talk for Ianthe. I wouldn't talk for Ianthe too.
They went out into Reese's tent. She breaks down. He lets her. Reese tells her what happened, but we don't know what it is yet. Feyre storms into another tent. Cassian is hurt. He's unconscious, slashed from belly button to chest.
Ugh.
The healers are there, but they won the battle, which is the good news. Amren is on her way with a book. Nesta is to try and track the cauldron. Moore is pissed at Feyre for leaving and not saying anything. Reese isn't that mad because he was just too scared and he was just happy that she was alive. But he says, leave a note next time. The healer finished up on Cassian and he wakes up. Reese tells him they won, etc., but don't pull that shit again. Your guts were hanging out, you stupid prick. Az held them in for you. But Cassian defends his decisions. Reese pulls rank. They're yelling at each other. But Reese is scared to have almost lost Cassian. He can't stand to see any of them hurt, and that is a theme throughout this whole book. Feyre walks outside and finds what?
And just I think it's good to note that like Cassian said, like, you can't be the only one to make decisions to sacrifice for people. Like, what is that?
Yeah, and he says that a lot. They do it a lot again later. Like, you've paid the debt. Like, let us help.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. God,
it's really sad,
and that's facts.
Feyre walks outside to find Nesta struggling with a water bucket, but Moore sends her away. She hates Nesta. She's pissed at her because she also didn't tell anybody like where Feyre had gone.
Did Nesta know?
Yeah, because she's like,
she knew she was leaving, but she didn't know where she was going.
Yeah. Okay. Moore goes off on Feyre. You shouldn't have lied. I would have let you go. I was duped. I had to tell Reese. I have no idea where your high lady was.
Which is fair.
Very fair. Like, can you imagine? Like,
no, I'd be so mad because she did kind of dupe her too.
Yeah,
she did make her believe.
She put her in a hard spot
for sure.
Feyre responds by lashing out and attacking Moore. How about the fact that you lie to yourself and all of us every single day, talking about Azriel and Helion? And then Moore's like, meh. And she's like, oh, you don't like to be pushed about your decisions? Me either. But they're just like, get out, and they split up. And then she runs into Amren 10 seconds later. Amren can sense that they fought, but she only says, be careful of how you push her. There are some truths that even Morgan has not herself faced. And we'll find out what that is later. They go back to Reese's tent. Nesta comes in. The plan is for her to scry for the cauldron with bones and stones. So they do it right now. She holds the stones and closes her eyes and casts her mind to find the cauldron. And she starts having a reaction. So Feyre goes into her mind to see what's going on. And she finds an ancient darkness. They're both standing in Hybern's war tent. Jurian's there. The cauldron's there. But she's frozen in place. The cauldron can sense them. Feyre's like, drop the bones, run. Like, we got to get out of here. The cauldron is about to overtake them like as a wave. Like a wave. They come to, Nesta did throw the bones and stones, and they form a circle on the map over where Hybern's army is. And it's the western edge of the human territory, 100 miles from their family's estate.
Ugh.
So things aren't looking good. They're in the perfect spot for Hybern's army to push them north into the middle where they'd be separated like from all the woods and have to deal with all the cast-offs of Prythian. And they don't have enough soldiers for that. It's too late for Miriam and Draken. And then Varian walks in. He had found Amren. He says nothing. He walks straight to her, kisses her, picks her up, and carries her away into the camp, which I thought was really sweet. I really like their relationship. I wrote all their lines down.
And Amren's like,
she purred.
Yeah.
Because she's a little cat.
I love that.
Feyre has a bunch of nightmares that night, including an image of the cauldron snaking a black tendril toward her. She bolts awake, runs outside, and Nesta and Amren are outside. They could all feel something that's happening because they're all made. Azriel says the shadows and wind are recoiling. Then it leaves, it stops, and they're like, whew. But Azriel's like, what about Elaine? And they're like, oh shit.
He even thinks about Elaine before Nesta thinks
it's
about
crazy.
Elaine.
She's
crazy.
also made.
Right.
Which, why can't Elaine stay at the townhouse? Why is she even here?
Why is she even fucking there?
She could be hanging out with Nuala and Carradine making bread.
There's no reason for her to be there at this point. There's zero fucking reason.
It doesn't make sense.
They didn't bring her into the High Lords meeting. Why the fuck do they have her here?
Just to be like stolen away in the night because she is.
Because she's just literally there.
Elaine is missing. Everyone jumps into action to look for her. Feyre realizes that in her dreams, she saw Grayson at the edge of the camp luring Elaine out, and that's how the cauldron had done it. Now Nesta and Feyre are both jealous because Hybern wants Elaine and not them.
She wants Nesta, Elaine. And he's like, Feyre, like, wow, girl, you just do.
No, Nesta and Feyre are jealous.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
They want Elaine.
Right, but Feyre's the most jealous. They never even wanted her.
She's just like both my sisters, really.
She's wanted never from them.
The cauldron is playing petty games. Nesta stole from the cauldron, and the cauldron stole Nesta. They stole from Nesta, being Elaine. But she's hopeless about getting her back. She knows the cauldron. She's seen its heart. Az is like, I'm getting her back. Like,
yeah, he's like, I'm getting her back.
Don't even worry about it.
And Nessa's like, and you will die.
She did say that.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
I know.
His shadows can get him into their camp, and Feyre wants to go because she has a plan. She shifts into Ianthe, and she's like, I need one of your siphons, Asriel. Doesn't even ask him. He throws her a siphon to use as her jewel. They have to go to the camp blacksmith to get a replica of Ianthe's circlet. And they have to go to a camp priestess to borrow a spare set of ropes.
I was thinking about this too. It's been hours. This must have happened at like 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, her being stolen?
Yeah, and then it must have been, they probably went at like 1.
But why couldn't they like have shifted a piece of clothing into the priestess's robes or a rock into his stone? Like, why'd they have to go get a blacksmith?
Or like, yeah, no, fucking who knows? I have no idea.
They went out to the edge of Hybern's camp, but inside the wards, Asriel turns to shadows and Feyre walks right in behind him. I think it's your turn.
Oh. No, it's not. Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Are you good?
Yeah, it just took me off guard. You're just like looking at me sideways. I'm like hanging on the edge of your last word. I'm like, what's next?
You were. This episode's gonna be interesting.
Dude, I'm like kind of nervous. I know it's my fault too. It makes me sad.
No, it's okay. I feel it too, believe me.
Oh my god. You need to stop buying those. Okay. In Hybern's camp, there are 3 children of the blessed like hung up on racks being tortured. Well, one's being tortured. The other 2 are already like they're dead, but they were tortured before that. Their bodies look like Claire Better like post-mortem. And Jurian finds Feyre in disguise as Ianthe pretty quickly as she's in the camp. And he walks up to her, and I'm not even kidding, like 4.5 seconds go by, and he's like, he realizes he has like a face shift. He knows it's Feyre. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even think she had spoken yet. And he knows that that's Feyre.
Because he knows the high priestess so well.
Was that interesting?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. And he tells her that Elaine is chained in the king's tent, and with like steel chains that are spelled by his old.
And she's okay because the king of Hybern is like mulling over what to do with her.
Yes, yeah. Like the cauldron presented her like a gift, and he was like,
"Well, no, I gotta go think about this.
Yeah. How can I make this like good?" And it's been hours, and he's been brooding for hours.
It's like by a fire, just going like this.
Yeah, it's like what the hell. And then so basically like they have to pretend to be like Jurian and Ianthe doing some sort of sexual back and forth. Mm-hmm. And Jurian distracts everyone. Oh my god. Jurian will distract everyone so that they can go get her. And then Feyre asks him to get the girl that's being tortured. And he's like, okay, fine, but go meet at the cliffs on one end of the camp.
Yeah.
And that's where she'll be. But he wasn't super thrilled.
He's like, if I can make it happen, that's where she'll be.
Yeah. He's always very aloof about his feelings and just like, I don't know. And so Feyre, they go into the tent, right? And Feyre's like reciting
Ianthe's prayer.
A prayer that she had heard about 15 billion times when she was in the spring court. And they're trying to they find Elaine, and Elaine's like, you came back for me. And they're trying to undo her chains, but they can't. Because of the king's spell, I'm assuming. Not even Feyre can cleave the spell free.
Must not have been from Amarantha's book.
It's the same book, but it probably was a better one.
She keeps being able to
cleaving all those. Yeah. I'd like to see this King of Hybern's book.
Yeah, I want it.
I do too.
Right here.
Wonder if it'd work for me. So they do get her out of the tent. They kind of cloak themselves at first, but they're pretty much sensed almost immediately. And these like weird dogs, like Hybern's monster dogs.
The Naga hounds or the Naga hounds?
Naga hounds. Right. Are they dogs are they dog-like? Are they not?
I bet they're like snake-like dogs.
Interesting.
Like they're scaly.
Is it different than the regular
skinny.
Naga though? Or is she just saying like the Naga dogs?
Oh, maybe like the Naga's dogs or...
They call the Naga like dogs because like that's they're like
no, I don't think it's Naga. I think it's actual hounds.
Oh. Do you see where I'm confused though?
Yeah.
Like I feel like
there's
fair.
3 different ways to interpret that. That's interesting.
Anyway, yeah, crazy. So they run for the cliff that Jurian told them to go to. And they realize that they're gonna have to fly off of it to make it like to the
outside the wards so they could winnow,
Right, so they could winnow away. And the child of the blessed, the woman girl that was being tortured, she is there, like wrapped up in a blanket or something like that. So he did get her off,
which is nice,
and was ready really quickly because that all happened probably within 3 minutes. Yeah, I don't know how he got out of there. Yeah, that's crazy. So they're being chased by hounds, and then right before they get like they're close, they're probably within 200 yards from the edge of the cliff. Yep. And Feyre gets hit by an ash arrow, and it's the king that did it in the shoulder.
So like. Let's assume left shoulder. Okay.
And she like goes down. And right when 2 hounds, whatever those are, come to attack her, Tamlin steps in and saves her life.
It's just funny.
They know the hounds, right? Like what in the world is that?
They're hounds.
Are they? Or are they just calling the Naga hounds?
I don't think so. I think it's actual like dogs.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Feyre takes off at the help of Tamlin, which thank God for him. And they're like attacking him. He's like fighting them off, and he's like really strong.
Yeah, he's fighting hard.
He's in like that's crazy because I bet that he would take down any other like because Tamlin has that power. He has strength.
The brute power.
Sorry, I had to sneeze. And Azriel grabs the girl with the lady in his arms and begins to take off. And one of the hounds jumps on to Azriel and like, is it with his claws?
I assume.
Like claw rake down his back.
His wings.
And his wings, like bad. But he still manages to stay in the air.
Yeah, he just like siphon patch, good to go.
Yeah, but it's like very obvious that he's hurt, but he's like flapping still in the air. Feyre's like, I don't know how he's doing that. And like, while she's like just running and like she can't catch flight because she's only had like a handful of lessons with flying.
And she's weak.
And she
just got shot by an arrow.
And she, because there were reasons, I suppose.
Anyways.
Sorry, that's so funny. And she's struggling, and he manages to stay up in the air while he's like really fucking hurt, and she like literally can't catch a fucking wind to save her life. And then Tamlin sends her a wind, like a spring breeze.
Spring wind that she recognizes.
Because I think probably because of the smell. And she finally takes off, and flies like to the edge of the wards, and she's like pushing against it, but then she uses her Hylian power to cleave through that ward.
Oh, nice.
Maybe it's just like a specific spell that can't be
whenever it's useful.
As in Feyre. Am I doing bad?
No, just keep going.
What?
Nothing.
Okay, I'm getting insecure.
No, it's fine.
Okay, Az and Feyre are injured and they need healers really bad. And the girl that they rescue, so this is crazy. We get her name, and
it is crazy.
She's in it for 5 seconds. Her name's
Briar.
But the dad's name is still a mystery. And
it's
Nesta,
not that important.
No, clearly. Briar is more important. Nesta appears and thanks Feyre, sobbing and holding her. And then that night they nestle together like on a rug, and they cuddle like they used to
back home
in their cabin
it was
cottage.
Like they were holding on to each other for dear life.
Yeah, instead of like trying to push each other off the bed. Kallias's winter army finally joins the camp, and the vibes for that one is like really different. I love it. Yeah,
we have like polar bears.
Yeah, and foxes running around in vests. Like
yeah, and those are so cute.
They're super cute, but it's just the vibes are like it's like an like a
North Pole-y.
Yeah. Yes. Totally.
Right.
112%. Azriel is healed technically, but he's grounded because I'm assuming
like he's not in trouble. He just can't fly.
Right. Like grounded. Like, okay, does that make sense? So he's grounded.
Yeah.
That's the word they use too.
I know, which is
like,
fine.
you're
It's
grounded.
good.
Okay. And Vera sees Moore, and Moore decides like that they're going to go talk. And they talk a little bit. She takes her to a place kind of outside the camp so no one can hear them, I'm assuming. And they apologize to each other really quickly. And Moore tells Feyre that she is not in love with Azriel. She loves him, but she prefers females. So she's I would describe her as bisexual.
I think she says I think she does say she enjoys males still.
Yeah, like in a sexual
a little
way.
bit.
So she finds sexual pleasure in both. That's my next. Oh no. Okay. I was focused on what you were saying, and I didn't see it in time.
It's so loud. I'm gonna start crying.
Okay, so she finds sexual pleasure in both, but I didn't finish that.
My cheeks hurt.
I didn't finish the sentence.
Okay.
We cannot take this again. This is bad. I forgot how to read halfway through. I can't tell the color.
There's so much to do still.
I know. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. So she finds sexual pleasure in both, but on a soul deep level, it's females that she connects with.
Mm-hmm.
And she never told anyone because she essentially didn't want her family to use that deepest part of her as a weapon against her.
Wait, why do you think Moore was comfortable like coming out to Feyre?
To Feyre, who's been in the family for 5 days.
Right.
I have no idea. I genuinely do. I just gotta know.
We need to take a break.
We need a book for more.
Why are you crying?
I don't know. She's just got a good story. Okay.
Really? Crying about more?
There was one point.
What?
I really thought that we were not reading this book. I thought we were talking about them in Hybern.
What? Earlier?
What? Yeah, dude, that was so funny. I think that.
This episode's gonna be so hard to edit.
It's gonna be so hard to edit. I can do it. It's my fault. I feel bad. Oh, no.
It's okay.
In the middle of a sentence of my thing, I'll just forget where I am. It's making me nervous.
We gotta get... I think it's gonna be so funny to listen back to.
Oh no. No.
But I'm feeling it a lot as well.
Okay, I'm glad it's not just me though.
Yeah.
This laughing fit was your fault. Okay.
We just had like a 5-minute conversation about her being bisexual.
I'm not even done.
Okay.
She finds sexual pleasure. Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did I say all that though? Oh. So she doesn't want her family to use that as a weapon against her.
Yeah.
All the comments that they make as of now, calling her a horror and all those things, like she knows that they're not true.
Yeah.
She just like, so it doesn't hurt her.
It doesn't bother her.
Those are fine, comments to make, which does make sense, but they don't hit her deep because it's not truly like, that's nothing to her.
Right.
She's always seen how Azriel looks at her and can tell that like how he feels, but she's just never like done anything to steer that anywhere
Nothing.
else. And that's why actually she picked with Cassian to sleep with and not Azriel that night. It was very intentional.
Yeah.
Picking Cassian. Because let's be honest, like Azriel's better in bed.
For sure.
We don't even have his book and I know it. When Azriel found her, it dumped in the autumn court. This is not funny, but it is. Like that he confessed his love for her there.
Oh yeah.
Like she's like almost dead and he confesses his love for her. And actually right before she was about to tell him everything, she was almost about to like tell him like
yeah, being sold and wait.
that she's gay.
Oh yeah. Here's what happened to Asriel. My family did this to me.
She's gonna tell him that she's gay and she's not interested. Which I don't know why she doesn't just tell him that she's not interested. She doesn't have to specifically say she's gay.
No reason.
There's no reason to come out of the closet. Oh my goodness. But then she got all stressed out when he told her that and like panicked and walked away. And she sleeps with men as a show. Like, one, so that way no one gets too close, and then two, to show as like when he does do something kind of a little erratic, not erotic.
He does something a little sexy. I had to sleep with someone else.
Erratic, like attacking Eris. She goes to Rita's so much because Rita's is a gay bar.
And no one realized that.
No one's realized it in 500 years. 500 years. Literally, like, no one except Feyre knows about this part of her, like, in the inner circle, which I think is crazy.
And she said she slept with Helion to remind Asriel that she doesn't want him, instead of just saying,
like, hey, I'm not interested.
Because
she feels like if she says I'm interested, she's just going to blurt out that she likes women. Like, that's crazy. No, I'm joking. I just assume
it might happen.
She did have a lover in the First War, one of the female queens, Andromache. But
is that how you pronounce it?
I think it is.
I love it.
I love it too. But at the end of the war, they decided to part so the queen can continue her royal line. And like by the time she realized that she had made a mistake and wanted to try and like win her woman back.
She wanted, 60 years. I'm going to take those 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. The wall had already been like put up and she spent several years trying to find a way around it. And when she finally did, the queen had already married and was popping out heirs. She had already had one kid, was pregnant with the second.
And she didn't say anything. She just walked away, right?
Yeah. So Feyre promises to keep her secret, and this whole thing is just fucked in so many ways. I can't handle it, but let's just keep Az in the dark. Like, why not? That was my note.
That was a good note.
Hybern's army is now all of a sudden marching east. Oh no, the king plans to fuck up the human lands to spite the Archeron sisters because they all made a fool of him. So they went out. So that night, they decide, well, what are we going to do because the humans, and they're like, well, we'll winnow the humans to Adriata in the path of their destruction. And which I thought was so sweet, just like another Tarquin, like
offering refuge. Without a second thought.
He really is the best High Lord.
He is. I was gonna bring up a conversation about that, but
he is. He's my favorite. Amren like storms in and she's like, I found a way to stop the cauldron and the king and wipe his army off the face of the planet. But what we're gonna need is all the people that were made, and they're all gonna have to go to the cauldron, touch it together, and they can use a spell to bind the cauldron and the king and wipe out his armies. Woohoo! Then they all winnow like all the humans out to Adriata, and this like essentially drains everyone who can winnow his powers.
They were doing it so fast. As fast as they could.
Right, but that still would have drained like a lot of their powers.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
It is crazy. Winnowing is really hard, I guess.
It's a lot of draining. So Feyre winnows. Then after everyone's drained and has winnowed the whole night, because she actually got winnowed by Rhys. She didn't even winnow herself.
She's done.
Well, she was like, I'm gonna winnow to the Court of Nightmares to face the Ouroboros. And she does, and it shows her this terrible creature, and it's meant to be her true self. She's like kind of a friggin' awful person, and she faces it and she conquers it, and she's now controlling the mirror.
Heck yeah.
So she brings the mirror to the bone carver, and he agrees to uphold their end of the deal. He actually never wanted or needed the mirror. He just wanted to test Feyre to see if she was worth helping, which would piss me off. But
I don't know. Yeah.
Would it?
I don't know if it would make me mad, but like I get why he did that.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, especially when for him, like we don't get the stakes because we see everything through Feyre's point of view, where she doesn't know how powerful and how evil like people can be.
Yeah,
and so she's just like the cute little animals that everyone's terrified of, or like monsters.
Yeah.
She's just like like
Truly.
Even I am, and as an audience member, like
yeah,
like I want to hug my exes. Like, so Hybern's army marched through the human lands. Like that's where we're skipping to next. So they start marching, and as they're kind of marching through the human lands, he has fucked up the human lands, destroyed everything.
Yeah. Everything's in cinders and ash.
Yeah, and they especially fucked up Feyre's family's estate to deliver a message to them, to the sisters.
Part of it.
And so they prepare for the last leg of the march, and Feyre and Nesta like change. I think Elaine ends up changing too into some winter court attire because she doesn't like the Illyrian leathers.
Well, I have a note about that.
What is it?
So, so this is a line from the book. Elaine had taken one look at us in the swaying grasses outside that wagon, the legs and assets on display, and turned crimson. And so Vivian gave her the winter court fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Which was less scandalous. Well, why are their Illyrian fighting leathers so scandalous?
Yeah.
They're like the legs and assets are exposed.
Yeah, what the hell?
That doesn't make any sense.
No, that is actually kind of crazy. I didn't even think about that. But also, like, fucking, you could be dying. Like, who cares if your ass and your fucking titties are out? Like, wear them. Elaine, she's so boring.
Yeah.
And people want her with Asriel, who is like, gotta be Kinky Daddy Express. Biggest wingspan. They want him with, come on.
Elaine.
With Elaine, come on. And so at that point, too, like, Asriel gives Elaine his blade, truth teller, and everyone's freaking the fuck out.
He's never given that blade to anybody.
Because he is literally,
ever.
Yeah. And that's just crazy to me too. But he's not supposed to be fighting during this. He's supposed to kind of be eyes and ears
he's
because
grounded.
He's still healing. That's also one of the reasons why.
Oh yeah.
He gave it to her, but still. Rhys gives an incredible speech, and I mean, I was sobbing loudly. And then they go to face Hybern. Mm-hmm. They're outnumbered. It's bad. It's really bad. They can tell the fight hasn't even started, and it's bad.
Yeah.
They're like, oh god, this is gonna be a couple hours at max. They're waiting for the first phase of the battle to end, which is basically where they attack each other with magic.
And
they try to get their shields down.
shields.
Yes, exactly. And at that point, like, it's happening. Feyre walks over to Rhys, and she's like, I never gave you a mating present. And he's like, oh, and then she reveals Bryaxis and the Bone Carver. And to which, like, Rhys cannot be, like, outdone or anything. Like, he has to at least have one single stake in the game. And so he's like, oh, yeah, what about this? And unleashes his glamour, and it's the Weaver. And the Weaver and the Bone Carver have a moment.
Yeah, they like, and the Weaver doesn't want to kill the Bone Carver like he thought.
Yeah, it's kind of like she gives him, like, a nod of, like something understanding. And then the Bone Carver sees it, acknowledges it, and even his facial expression, he's like, okay, like, we're good. We're good. That's kind of crazy to me. So
it's interesting because we don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah. And then the three creatures begin to attack Hybern's forces. The fighting starts, and it's getting pretty bloody at this point. And at some point too, they're like, okay, well, they're supposed to leave when the fighting starts to get at its worst, like at its most sloppy. And so they're waiting. And then Tamlin and fucking the Autumn Court show up.
Right.
And Jurian and the human army.
Right.
They all show up. And everyone's surprised.
Yeah.
And so Eris comes over, and he's like, yeah, Tamlin dragged my dad over here.
Good.
I had nothing to do with it.
He's
so
like,
sorry.
Don't. Like, me take the
But why
credit.
wouldn't he take it? Like, why wouldn't he, though?
I don't know.
Anyways. And then Eris's brother can destroy the caches of Fabane.
Oh, yeah, and they're really good at it, too.
Yeah. It's like they knew exactly where it was. Amren, Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine need to make their way to the cauldron through the battlefield, which the Weaver has made like a path through the bodies, which apparently there's like a line now, like no one goes over it or through it, or like
it's full of bodies.
What in the
walk
world?
on top of them.
Yeah, what? So Nesta realizes Hybern is rousing the cauldron, and so she kind of has a moment. She screams out for Cassian.
It was so good.
It was so good.
And he comes flying.
And he starts flying. Yeah, he flies to her. And right about when he's halfway, the king uses the cauldron to completely destroy his armies with like a white light, and it turns them to ash. And right before the light comes out too, I don't know why this wasn't like a red flag for them, but all the adder like things dropped.
They did.
And like, I guess like the Illyrian forces are just like, whoa,
let's
deal with them anymore. Yeah, what the fuck? I was like, I would have dropped immediately too. Nesta had called for Cassian, knowing he would come and to save his life. The king uses the cauldron again, this time hitting and destroying the Bone Carver.
No.
Not my guy. I love him.
R.I.P.
Rest in peace.
And didn't he like look at Feyre?
He did. He looked at Feyre like he knew this was going to be his end. He knew what was going to be there.
And Feyre sent up a prayer to him.
To the world beyond.
Yeah. I says, I hope death is everything you thought it would be. It's really sad.
I wonder what he thought it would be.
That's right here. Okay. Feyre can feel the bargain tattoo with the bone carver being erased and her mind tethered to him fade into darkness. She sends up a prayer to him that he found death everything he'd hoped it'd be. Cassian comes back, because Nesta had been screaming for him. But he feels hopeless against the power of the cauldron. Azriel says, I'm going in. Chain me to a tree. I'll rip it from the ground and fly it with it on my goddamn back. I'm going in.
He's so hot.
I do picture him flying in battle with a tree.
I do too. I can see it in my head right now.
They need to stop the cauldron, but Nesta and Elaine are immobile. They're like throwing up, and Nesta's overwhelmed by the power of the cauldron.
Yeah, why Elaine's immobile, I'll never know.
Because she's sick to her stomach.
God.
Maybe it can be done with just Feyre and Amren, though. All the High Lords are struggling to hold their lines. The sheer numbers of Hybern are threatening to overwhelm them when there's another horn from the sea. An armada is coming from their backs. It's a lot of ships, and they're all full of soldiers. They're scared it's the rest of Hybern's army. Rhys sends Azriel to lead the rest of the Illyrians. He's like, get back in there, even though he's not fully healed. And it does feel like he's sending them to his death.
Yeah.
Cassian is about to leave too, and his parting words to Rhys and Feyre and Nesta are, I'll see you on the other side.
So he also feels like
he does feel like he's not going to make it. A dozen horn blasts ring out, and Rhys recognizes it, and he shoots all of them into the air so they can see. And thousands of winged soldiers are approaching. There's thousands of ships in the bay, and it's Draken's Seraphim and Miriam's people.
And it's Cassian carrying Nesta.
Cassian's carrying Nesta,
and Rhys is carrying Feyre.
They all shot up so they could see.
We'll double date.
Draken meets them in the air and explains they've been on Kritia this whole time. They glamored their lands to look like ruins, and they only knew of Hybern and Jurian hunting them through the, quote, rumor mill. So like, Jurian's plan worked all along.
Yeah.
And it worked. That's such a good part.
It's such a good part.
Rhys inquired about the ships, and he's like, friends of yours? And he's like, no, I think it's friends of yours. And it's human armies led by Vassa. Found by Lucian? No, he met up with them later. Draken says, quote, he calls himself the Prince of Merchants. Apparently, he discovered the human queens were traitors months ago, and he's been gathering an independent army to face Hybern ever since. He managed to find Queen Vassa, and together they rallied this army. He told me that he's got 3 daughters who live here, and that he failed them for many years, but he would not fail them this time. It's father.
It's father.
He named his 3 personal ships after Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine, and he's on the front of Nesta's leading the charge. All this time, we got mentions here and there. Father's on the continent trading. He went to a meeting about the threat above the wall. So vague, and we only got such a vague information about father. We wrote him off, and all this time he was putting together an army.
It's so sweet.
Found Vassa, whose curse is not broken because she is soaring as a firebird over Hybern's army, destroying their ships with ease. Oh, father.
You don't even have a name.
Now's a good time for Feyre and Amren to get to the cauldron, but Nesta wants to use herself as bait and a distraction. She thinks if she gets far enough away and fakes using her power of the cauldron, Hybern will come running, and Cassian will also be by her side to protect her. But Rhys is like, no, you're not going. But Cassian says, you always give everything for us. We know what you did under the mountain for 50 years. For us. Let me repay the debt. I never repaid your mother for her kindness. Let me help. Let me buy you time. Let me return the favor. And Rhys says, I can't. And he says, you can, Rhys. You can. Save some of the glory for the rest of us.
It's so sad. I can't do it. I can't. So sad.
Then he and Nesta leave. They don't wait for his permission. They just leave. Rhys does not believe he will survive. And remember the line that Elaine said to Cassian back in Valeris.
Right.
He snapped your wings, broke your bones. And Cassian said, it'll take more than that to kill me. And she said, no, it will not. Making us all believe Cassian will die.
I thought that.
But Amren and Nesta need to move. Rhys shoots off to fight. Feyre glamours them from sight and they hoof it. They follow the weaver's path to the cauldron. It's still crystal clear. No soldiers have stepped in it. They carefully make their way up to the hill to where it's at, avoiding the Hybern commanders who haven't entered battle yet. They spot a beautiful, dark-haired woman waiting for them, and it's Striga. She had devoured the youth of the soldiers in her path, and now she was young and beautiful.
Aww.
She jumped the Hybern guards that they were avoiding as a distraction, and they can feel Nesta, like she's gathering her power. And then before the king winnows away, he walks up to Striga, snaps her neck, and throws her body to 2 Naga hounds and winnows away. R.I.P. the Weaver!
It's just crazy because, like, I can maybe see how the cauldron killed the weaver, or not the weaver, the bone carver, but I still cannot understand. I wonder if Striga knew she was sacrificing herself.
I don't know.
Because she's like a death god.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't make sense.
How
How
does that
could
kill
just
her?
snap? He must be have powers that we don't know about. I don't know.
He's got to have something, because that's crazy to kill a death god like that so quickly, so easily, so handedly. That's crazy.
That is. R.I.P.
R.I.P. The twins are gone.
The twins?
The twins. The Striga and the bone carver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They died together. The cauldron is left unguarded. Feyre puts her hands on it, but Amren does nothing. She throws the book away, and it looks like she lied and is betraying them. Phaedra is consumed by the cauldron. She is with it as it flits over the battlefield looking for Nesta. She sees Rhys transform fully into his beast form, which we have not seen. Helion sees him do this and transforms as well into his daytime equivalent.
And his beast form looks like the beasts that are carved over the
into the rock of the Court of Nightmares.
That's an important thing.
And that made up his throne.
That's an important thing for our theory episode.
Okay. It says the throne not only a representation of his power, but of what lurked within. Interesting. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Okay. Then Feyre zooms to Nesta and Cassian, attached to the cauldron now, just to observe. Nesta can feel the king coming and is about to kill him with her powers, but the king is there with a sword to their father's throat. It's super tense. Father says, "I loved you from the first moment I held you in my arms, and I am so sorry, Nesta. My Nesta, I am so sorry for all of it." Nesta begs the king and says she will give her powers back to save him, but the king snaps Father's neck anyway, and Nesta's powers flicker out. Cassian engages the king to buy time for Nesta to run, for Feyre and Amren to nullify the cauldron. But Nesta says a goodbye to her father, and when she stands up, she's at full strength again. Cassian's on the ground. His wings are snapped. His leg is broken. His siphons are depleted. And Nesta is not herself. She is a predator. She tells the king, "I am going to kill you." He snaps more of Cassian's wings, and she throws her power at him and misses because he winnowed away. Her power blasted away trees and landed on hundreds of Hybern soldiers, killing them instantly. But it was all of her power. She used it all in one go. Cassian tells her to run. He's crawling toward her. She takes one of his blades, but the king disarms her really quick. She blasts the real last bit of her power into his chest, and he gets blasted quite a bit away. She's begging Cassian to get up, but he's fucked. The king is coming back. Nesta won't leave Cassian. He tells her he has no regrets in this life except that they did not have time. He did not have time with her, and promises to find her in the next world, the next life, and we will have time.
That's so sweet.
Nesta lays over his body, content to die with him. Feyre offers her soul to the cauldron to save them. Then the king is stabbed in the back of the neck by Elaine, who just stepped out of shadows with Truth Teller. Is it Truth Teller's shadows?
I don't know.
Or Azrael's shadows?
I don't know. Or
her own
Elaine's
shadows.
Shadows, yeah.
She says to the king, "Don't you touch my sister." The cauldron purrs in Elaine's presence.
That's an interesting fact.
Even the cauldron is enthralled by Elaine.
Which is interesting because the cauldron isn't like seen as inherently good. Or even really all that inherently neutral. I mean, it's kind of like a bad like presence.
Good point.
So that's interesting.
Nesta's first action is to get up and twist Truth Teller in the king's neck. And he's still alive at this point, but she keeps twisting until his head falls off. She lifts it up to stare at his dead eyes. Then she blinks and seems to come to like she was in a trance. The cauldron whips Feyre back toward itself across the battlefield. Everyone's still fighting. Bryaxis is holding the human lands. I'm mad because Draken and Miriam are fighting Jurian.
Oh my God. I will never not be mad about this because we're literally in the middle of a war to decide the future of this fucking world. And you're literally about to settle this 500-year-old. And here's my thing about it too, right? Like Miriam and Draken, you literally have children and you have like, you're happy on your fucking paradise island and you're going to go try and fucking settle this 500-year-old fucking debt that you feel like needs to be paid for what? For what? For what reason? You won. You won the battle. You won the argument. You're happy. You're together.
It's insane. Even told him like Jurian's on our side.
It's so fucking annoying.
But Hybern's forces are still overwhelming them. They're still losing. She hears Rhys roar, knows he's in trouble, but comes back into her body where Amren is slapping her. And she's like, fight it, girl, fight it. Amren reveals the Suriel said the answer was in the book, but she lied about it being a spell of control. It was an unbinding spell for herself. And Feyre needs to act as a conduit. Amren knew she could do it alone after retrieving the Ouroboros, and that she has the power to wipe Hybern's army away. So Varian appears, somehow finds them, and begs Amren not to do it, and it's really, really sad.
It's super sad.
And she goes on a long rant about explaining how, like, when she was in the humans' world, she would watch them and didn't really understand the things they did, like the love that they had, but she did think that her and Varian could have had some variation of that.
Yeah.
And maybe she could have known with him.
Yeah.
And she says, all of this was a gift. This time with you, it's been a gift. And then she said, tell the High Lord to leave out a cup for me. She tells Varian, oh yeah, I already said that. And then she tells Varian, maybe we could have been something, and then jumps in the cauldron.
Yeah. Oh.
Feyre says the spell with every fiber of her being. She's screaming it. A spear of power seemed to come from the earth itself and break the cauldron into 3 pieces. Then Amren shed her fey body and reveals herself as a winged creature with a floating crown of incandescent light. She's an angel.
I love that. She's I think Sarah J. Maas actually like described her as like an angel from the Old Testament.
Yeah, and I love that.
Yeah.
We have to talk about that more.
Yeah, for sure.
She indeed blasts through Hybern's army, leaving only ash in her wake, but she only lasts as long as absolutely necessary to defeat like the last ship, and then she's just a bright, clean light on the waves. Why do you think that was?
I don't know.
Why couldn't she have lived as a giant firebird angel?
Firebird angel. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like the amount of lives you take, like decrease your. I honestly don't know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Rhys is by Feyre's side pretty immediately. She shows him mind to mind everything, but the cauldron is leaking like a void and it's destroying the world, and so she panics. She thinks she can fix it again, grabs the book of breathings, but she can't read it because it's in a different language.
It's literally in a different language.
And she hurls it into the void.
She just chucks it into the void. And she's so mad. She's like, fuck that book.
It was just really funny because that book has been so important.
So important. And it's like the only thing that can nullify the cauldron ever. And she just chucked it into the void.
And Rhys is like, well, that's one way to try it. But he,
yeah.
But he does say, she can again be a conduit for his power, and together they can reforge the cauldron. She realizes the void she's seeing after touching the cauldron is what existed in the beginning and what it might return to when the earth and stars die. But not today. Together, Rhys and Feyre give every last bit of their power into Feyre's spell to reforge the cauldron, and it works. The void is once again contained in the cauldron. Feyre turns to Rhys to celebrate, but he's sprawled on the ground, and she can feel the absence of the mating bond, and he's not breathing because he's dead.
So that's crazy. We'll get to that. But what I really want to say really quick is what's so funny to me is like when they reforge the cauldron, she has to say a spell from the book. It's apparent this language that she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Not like she doesn't know this. Only Amren knows this language. She sees a sentence of one spell and she's like, well, if I just change this one thing to what would you know to change it to?
Wait.
How would you know to change that? She's like, if I just change that like one little portion of this spell that Amren gave me to like release her.
Yeah.
How would that forge the cauldron? How do you know that? How do you know that there's even something to change?
Oh, because when she did it, it cleaved the cauldron. So maybe she's like, well, if I undo it.
But how would she know what to say for that? Like in this language, she doesn't fucking know.
It's funny because when I read that, I was like, oh, Feyre's just been learning spell work. Yeah. she's improved.
She's been learning this other language with Amren, apparently. So that's great.
That's funny.
So Feyre realizes that she knew that Rhys was like, he knew that he was going to die. And that she knew that he was dying, and that when he kept telling her that he loved her, it wasn't a declaration, it was a goodbye. And Feyre starts just like yelling and screaming, and like it's bad, like guttural screams.
It's very hard to read.
And then yelling at the High Lords to bring him back. And there's nothing. Sorry, I gotta burp a little bit.
Oh,
sorry. Okay. He's like,
okay.
He's like, there's nothing that we can do. And even Thesan and Helion check to see if there's anything that can be like changed or spelled or whatever. And there's nothing. And she's like, well, like give him a nugget of your power.
You did it for me. You can do it for him.
Right. And they're like, well, this is actually not like the same thing. But then literally 30 seconds later, Tarquin puts his nugget of power on it.
But we'll try.
Yeah, we'll try it anyway. And then the rest follow. Leaving Feyre, well, besides one, leaving Feyre, and she doesn't actually know how to do it.
Yeah, so someone has to talk,
like
walk her through it. She's like, I don't care how it's done, but tell me.
Just tell me. And she's like mad that he has to walk her through it.
Yeah.
She's really upset.
But she does it.
And then she does it. She puts her nugget of power on him. And then she realizes that there's one person missing. And it's right when he walks through the door, she realizes who it is. And it's Tamlin. And she's like, please. Like she's begging him. She's like, please, please, please. And he does hesitate for a minute, but then he goes up to her and puts the nugget on his chest and he goes, be happy, Feyre. And then he walks away.
So did he let her go just now?
I would say that that's an admission of letting someone. Yeah, I would say that that's letting her go. Which finally, like,
thank God.
She can only tell you so many times that she doesn't want to be with you.
She was like begging over his dead body and something shifted inside of him. He's like,
yeah, this is real. Right. Like maybe it was, he saw him when he was holding Feyre.
Oh man.
That would be interesting. Feyre holds Rhys and tells him how much she loves him. She talks about their story. She talks about like the moment she realized that she was falling for him and like got all these things. And he wakes up and he informs the others in the room that he does not have any of their powers.
It's like first thing, by the way, I didn't steal anything.
I didn't steal a
Not
damn
a thief.
thing.
Don't even look at me.
And then he's like, looks to Moore and he's like, well, someone needs to probably grab Amren. She's in the cauldron.
It's just so funny. It's like the end of a sitcom where all your favorites died and then they're like, just come back.
Just kidding.
She's in the cauldron.
We'll put a cup out for her because she's alive.
Yes.
And so, I'm like, great. Like, nice to have you back, Amy. And he saw her during death and he had asked her if she wanted to come back. And
he's like,
said,
hey,
yes.
Are you sure you're ready to leave?
Like, you
come
miss
back.
us. Remember Varian? Ooh. And then he brought her back.
Aww.
So then that's all sweet. Everything's all good. She's happy. She's crying, whatever. The next chapter, Elaine, Nesta, and Feyre are saying goodbye to their father. And then Feyre like burns his body to like give him that like peace to the immortal honey. And
the milk and honey.
The milk and honey, not immortal honey.
The immortal milk and honey, yeah.
Lucian comes over and says that he's sorry for their loss. And says that Father Archeron, still no name, was the one that struck the deal with Vassa's keeper to get her out for the moment. And he's just like basically like saying that he's like a great dude.
Oh, like your dad was cool as shit.
Yeah, like I really liked him. We bonded pretty good.
But hold on, like what do you think this deal was? Do you think that'll come into play later?
I don't know.
He has to make a bargain like they do.
Yeah, and then she is supposed to get out.
She needs to go back at some point.
I didn't even think about that. He shows some weird admiration for Vassa, like almost to the point where it was like even Feyre's like, you like her, yeah, okay.
He does,
yeah,
they're friends,
yeah. And Elaine, after a nudge from Feyre, invites Lucian to join them in Valaris after everything kind of gets settled. And then Feyre goes back to her tent, and also at this point, Lucian and Elaine like kind of go off to have like one more conversation, to, like washing their hands or something like that. So we don't ever get to see that, and I'd like to know what the hell happened between then and then the next like couple of books.
Right.
So Feyre goes into the tent to find Miriam and Draken. I said, this is my note, right? Like, first of all, Feyre's like, oh, I saw that you and Draken were fighting. Like, where is Draken? Is he okay? And they're like, are you friends with Draken?
Who said that? Miriam?
Miriam, I think. Are you friends with Draken? It was like all judgy about it. And it's like, okay, what if she is?
Right.
Like, first of all, you're the one that cheated, or you're the one that left your man for his bestie. Like, come on. What do they have a grudge about? I gotta know. I don't understand why they're upset at all.
I didn't catch that.
Because he was upset about you leaving him for his friend. Well, he has a kind of a right for that. I don't get what the grudge is.
Me either.
And that's when I said Miriam and Draken, in the middle of a fucking war for the future of the planet, thought, oh, let's settle this 500-year-old grudge right now. But Moore stepped in, was like, are you fuckers dumb? So she stopped them.
That was a great way to sum that part up.
They were asked if they can hide the cauldron in Cretea, and they're like, they very like casually agree. They're like, oh, we can maybe find a spot.
We'll steal it away.
Yeah. And Feyre decides too that she wants to host a meeting between the humans and the Fae, and she asks like Draken and Rhys to set that up. Mm-hmm. And so they set it up at their old like estate,
ruined manor.
Yeah, it's like only like a third built still, but it's like enough for like one big room that they can have a meeting for. Right. So they can basically begin negotiating peace talks. She meets Nefel, the infamous Nefel, and she meets Vassa, who's very spicy, and asks her to like find a way to like
break her spell,
to cleave her bargain, which I feel like only the king of Hyberns, from I've seen, been able to break a bargain. I don't even know how you begin to do that.
Ooh, I thought, yeah,
because that's not just a spell.
Yeah,
that's
I was just gonna
way more.
Well, they call it a curse.
Oh, true. Maybe it's
she
even deeper
curse
than a bond.
She is Feyre curse breaker.
No, you're right. The meeting itself like doesn't go great. Basically, it's like about everyone talking about their opinions or their stories revolving humans and Fae, either going right or wrong. Feyre tells hers, Miriam and Draken tell theirs. A couple people speak up. It doesn't go great.
No,
like it
doesn't.
It's not. They don't decide anything. They're not even really like sure whether they're going to land on it. Like it's very up in the air.
Yeah.
But it's a start.
And they foster those relationships in the next 2 books too.
Yeah, a bit.
They're like traveling around. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it is a start mm-hmm. towards peace, towards, all of those things. So then Draken comes to speak with Feyre to essentially say goodbye, and he tells her that Vassa offered him a place at her court, and he's like, I don't know what kind of court a cursed queen can have, but I figure fuck it.
Nowhere else to go.
Where else am I gonna go? After a few days, they go back to Valaris when everyone's healed up, and Cassian opens up all the old bottles of wine. And
I'm using the fancy wine.
Yeah. And they drink and soak in the bliss of war being over and them having won. Later, Feyre finds Rhys on the roof, and she's in lingerie, of course. Before they have a celebratory bang, they decide to make a suicide pact bargain. If one goes, they both go. Stupid as shit.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe they did that. It was so casual.
My last note is, and Braxis is missing, so Cassian won't sleep until that's sorted. The end.
I love how casual they are about finding Braxis as well.
She's like, we're going to have to find him eventually.
Yeah. Who knows? He is death or fear incarnate, but we'll worry about that later. He's down here on list of priorities.
Who cares if Cassian literally has not gotten one single ounce of sleep since he's been released? Not one ounce.
It doesn't matter. We'll find him later.
She's convinced that he's gonna that he's coming after him. That's Cassian's like, he's gonna find me.
Cassian hasn't thought about it once.
No, I bet he has. I keep seeing memes of people being like, Nesta having to check under Cassian's bed for Brian.
Oh, that's so funny. Do they ever fucking catch him?
Not in the next 2 books, dude.
Oh my gosh.
So Roman free.
What is going on? So we had the Bone Carver, Striga, Suriel, Father, and Rhys for a hot second, and Amren's angel form that all died.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And we still don't know the Bone Carver's full name. We do know the Weavers now. It's Striga. We don't know the dad. We don't know the King of Hyberns. We know Briar.
King of Hybern died nameless.
Yeah, we don't know the specific Adder. We don't know the specific Suriel. Names are hard.
But Briar.
We know.
She must come back at some point.
She's got to come back.
All right, what's your quote of the week?
My quote of the week is, be careful how you speak about my high lady.
Oh, early as lines.
Oh, for sure. As daddy can go to.
Nice. Mine is, leave this world a better place than how you found it. Our Suriel. I like Az's protection.
No, it's good. I love the Suriel dying was like, maybe it's something that I just like block out of my head because I was so sad.
Aw.
Because I'm just like, I can't even remember what that sweet like thing said. It makes me so sad.
Don't read it again.
Ugh.
Who would you be?
Probably one of the children of the blessed that was strung up.
The one that died?
One of the ones that died, yeah.
I said Briar. The
You
alive
got
one.
a name. You're going to see.
Or one of the little foxes with the embroidered vest
You'd
that
be
carry
the
messages.
animal.
I'd be a little messenger fox for the winter court. That'd be a good one.
That's
I'd
so
do that.
funny. I'd be one of those dumbass Illyrians in the sky after the adders all drop, just like chilling.
Get blasted out of the sky. Oh, no.
Yeah. Sorry.
Favorite character in the whole book?
The cereal.
R.I.P.
No, it is definitely part of the cereal. But I out of the whole book, no, the cereal. Yeah, I agree. The cereal. Out of this specific part of the book, I'm fucking with Jurian. I'm rocking with Jurian.
I have the Suriel and Jurian and as well, and the Bone Carver, but not Trachon because he was a dick.
The Bone Carver.
The Bone Carver just did something to you.
Oh
it
my
does
God.
something to you.
Huge.
Least favorite character?
Probably Miriam and Draken.
Good point. I said Ianthe, but like she's out of the picture. She's gone.
Yeah, thank
Miriam
God.
Draken are here.
Them deciding to fight Jurian in the
Oh my
middle
God.
of the biggest battle that's ever been like waged is absolutely insane.
They should be reprimanded somehow
They should be
on a
in
global
jail.
scale.
Yeah, that's some war crimes in my opinion.
War crimes.
That's a war crime.
Good fun.
That's so funny.
Oh, also more because she fucked Helion to remind Azrael she doesn't want him.
And she hasn't told him in 500 years that she just
She did that to
isn't
her literal
interested.
friend of 500 years.
Like what in the hell?
I love it.
That she's not a friend.
No.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Star rating 1 to 5.
This one is it's so hard. Like
I said 5 stars.
I'm trying to decide if I want like the last one to be more stars or this one to be stars. I'm gonna go with 4.9 for this one.
4.9.
Yeah.
And then okay.
Yeah.
Sneak peek on the Silver Flames review.
Yes. Yes.
I said 5 too because I loved it so much. I mean, I'm sobbing through the last 100 pages.
Oh yeah, I was sobbing though for real.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that
else?
it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask you a question, but I forgot.
Okay.
Sorry.
You can. We won't get cover it next time. Okay, next week we are doing A Court of Frost and Starlight. It's only 28 chapters, so and it's the cozy Christmas story. What?
Yes, I remember. So go ahead, continue. Sorry, I'll tell you after.
Okay, it's the cozy Christmas story of the series, so we're not splitting it. We're just gonna do the whole thing.
Yeah, it should be relatively quick.
Yeah.
We'll do some fun stuff for that. Maybe add some other things depending.
Okay. No, I
Time
like it. I
consuming.
like it. I like it.
Okay.
That's it though. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much for. Oh, you got
I
something?
actually just wanted to ask you.
What? You raise your hand.
If you could name the people that haven't been named yet, what would you name them?
Okay, Father Jonas.
Jonathan. Let's say it at the same time. We'll look at each other.
Okay, Hybern. Okay, give me a second.
King of Hybern. Yeah. Okay.
King of Hybern.
I got it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Henry.
Nathan. Nathan and Henry.
And Nathan and Henry, because I picture him like king of like England or something.
I like it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, the Bone Carver. No, Adder first.
Adder. Okay. Got it.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Michael.
Caxus.
What did you say?
Caxus. So I feel like those creatures have like weird names.
Caxus. I thought that was from something, but you
I
made
was
that
gonna
up.
say coccyx, but I wanted it to be original.
That's good. That was good.
Okay, who was that? Was that Adder? Okay, Bone Carver.
Bone Carver.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Julian. Remus.
Julian.
What? They're both ridiculous.
Jurian.
Julian and Jurian. It's not the Bone Carver's fault.
His sister's name is Striga. His brother's name is Kosje. It's
Shoot.
gonna be
Okay, hold on.
Kosje, Striga, and Julian.
What did you say?
I said Remus.
Remus. That's a good one.
It sounds kind of like a interest. I don't know.
It
I
fits.
stole it maybe a little bit from Harry Potter.
Who else? Who else doesn't have a name?
I don't know. I think that's it.
Okay.
That I know.
Me too.
All right, I love that. That was funny. If we come up with any more people that don't have names, we have to.
That is.
Oh, the Lady of the Autumn Court.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Janelle.
Natalie.
Janelle.
Oh my God. Okay, fine. Reese's last name.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Darling.
Darling.
Dude, every time I read favorite darling, I just laugh so hard. There's no way that's his last name. Good try.
Oh my God. Okay, that's gonna be the one we ended on. That's perfect.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Please, if you like us, if you're listening, if you this far, go rate us 5 stars on Amazon, not Amazon, Apple Podcast, please. It really helps us out. I don't know how, but majority of our listeners are on Apple Podcast, so please give us 5 stars.
Yeah.
Leave us a review.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at litlibationspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, and I want to see some fan art. Reese's beast form, the little winter court messenger foxes with their embroidered vests, the female Illyrian fighting leathers that leave their legs and assets on display, and then fanfic. I wrote down, I want to see Moore's relationship with her human lover from the moment they met to the moment she learns of her passing as an old woman safe in her bed.
Yeah.
And drama key. That is, I love that.
I do too. Oh, amazing.
Okay.
Right. Thank you guys so much for bearing through that.
Yeah, thank you. Who's gonna edit that?
I'll edit it.
Okay.
It's fine. All right.
All right.
Love
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.